Today's video is going to be all about how to add a lining to your tote bag and also how to make a small slip pocket into the lining. So it's a very simple pocket and it's a very easy way to construct the entire bag, and the lining bag is going to be made the exact same way. I did want to show you guys how to construct the entire bag as well, because I did use a cool t-shirt. I love the Karate Kid and the wax on, wax off, nostalgic vibe. I love it. So I wanted to show you how to construct it using a t-shirt, but also the main focus is all about the construction of the entire bag, the lining, and the pocket on the inside. So welcome back. This is lesson 6 of the Beginner Bag Maker Bootcamp, and I'm excited that you made it so far, all the way to this lesson. So I'm excited to get into it. So let's get right into making this bag. Let's start by cutting the image off the front of the shirt. The main focus of the video is to make sure you pay attention to how I construct the outer bag, because the lining bag is going to get constructed the exact same way. We're just going to attach the side panels to the base, and then the front and back panels to each side of the side panels, and then sew the base together, but you'll see that further along in the video. And then also we're going to be making a very simple pocket in this video. So towards the end of the video, you'll start seeing how I construct the pocket for this bag. It's just a very simple slip pocket, and we're just taking one piece of fabric and turning the top edge of the fabric down and folding it a couple times, and then folding the edges inward about 1/4 inch all the way around, and then sewing that pocket onto the lining. So that was the very first pocket that I learned how to make, and it's a very easy pocket to slip your phone into, debit cards, and different things like that. So let's get right into it. So here you're gonna notice that I am cutting all of the panels out for the bag. A lot of times when I make bags, the very first thing that you have to do is create a pattern for it. And then after you create the pattern, you wanna go ahead and cut out all of the panels and add some sort of backing to it. So I'm using fusible fleece, and I've cut out the main front and back panels, and now I'm just cutting out the base, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the side panels. All the measurements are in the video. And once again, guys, I'm not actually ironing on my cutting mat. I'm just using my little mini iron to just let you guys know you can go ahead and iron at this point. But I do take all the pieces over to my actual ironing board and iron everything on the ironing board. So I cut a piece of canvas 6 by 13, and I attached it to the piece of t-shirt that I cut off the front, because I wanted the wax off to be on the back of the shirt. So if you are using an entire image without cutting it in half, you won't need to do this part. But because I did cut off a piece of the t-shirt, I did have to attach a little bit of canvas on the bottom half, and that was the measurements that I used. But depending on if you did have to cut an image and you want to put something on the back of the shirt, you may have different measurements, but you just want to make sure that the measurements that you cut off just matches the entire front panel. So that's why I had to make it 6 by 13, because that was the measurements that I had to add to the piece of the shirt that I cut off to make the entire piece the same measurements as the front of the tote bag. And now I'm just cutting off the pocket piece. So as you can see, I cut off a piece for the pocket, and I folded the top edge down 1/2 inch and just folded it twice. But I'm gonna just cut off a little bit of the left and right corners at the bottom of the fold, just so that way when I'm sewing it, it kind of cuts off some of the bulky pieces on the edge. And then I folded the other 3 sides inward about 1/4 of an inch and then gave it a really good pressing. And then after pressing it, I'm gonna also just clip off the corners. So I unfolded it, and then now I'm just cutting on a slant on each corner. And then I'm gonna fold it right back in place. Use some pins to hold it in place, and then I'm just gonna sew right along the bottom fold line, really close to the bottom fold line. And now I'm just centering the pocket into the center of the back lining panel. And I'm using some pins to just hold it in place. And then what I'm gonna do is just sew down the left, the bottom, and then up the right side of the pocket, very close to the fold line. So I'm gonna just edge stitch it really close to the fold line, but then I'm also, where we folded the pocket, I'm gonna sew it again all the way around one more time, just to close off the little raw edges around the pocket. So about 1/4 of an inch away, I am gonna sew it again. So you should have 2 lines going around the left, bottom, and the right side of the pocket. And then that's really it to attach the pocket to the lining. And then now we're just gonna work on constructing the outer bag and the lining bag the exact same way. So the same way that I attach all the panels together for the outer bag, I'm gonna do that same technique to make the lining. So I started with the base first, and then I took the side panels and just faced them right sides facing, and then pinned the side panels to each side of the base. So it looks like this. You should have your fusible fleece showing on the outside. And now I'm just gonna stitch using about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to sew the edges of the base to the edges of the side panels, the bottom parts of the side panels. So now I'm gonna grab the front and back panels, and I'm gonna attach the short side of the front and back panels to the side panels. So the long sides of the side panels are gonna get attached to the short side of the front and the back panel. So I'm just gonna take those and attach the left and right side of the front panel to the side panels. And now I'm gonna take the back panel and do the same thing. Attach it to the side panels as well, using pins to secure it all in place. And then I'm just gonna sew with about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance down both sides of the side panels. And now I'm going to connect the long sides of the base to the long side of the front and back panel. And then the whole outer bag is complete. And we're gonna do the lining bag the exact same way. For the sake of speeding up the video, I didn't show you the lining bag, but it's actually constructed the exact same way as the outer bag. So I felt like I didn't really need to show it to you again in the video. But if you follow the way we just did the outer bag, you can definitely do the inner bag the same way. Now we can just turn the bag inside out, push out the corners. And now I'm just gonna cut off a little bit of the excess bulk around the corners of the seam. So after turning the bag inside out and putting both bags together, there won't be a lot of bulkiness in the corners of the bag. So I'm gonna drop the lining right into the outer bag. And now I'm just going to turn the outer bag inward about 1/2 inch and turn the lining bag towards the outer bag about 1/2 inch as well. And then I'm going to use some pins to just pin and hold everything in place all the way around the rim of the bag. So you've seen me do this technique in multiple bags in many of my videos. So this is just an easy way to attach the lining to the outer bag. We're also gonna attach a magnetic snap in this video. In the last lesson, we talked about bag closures, but we didn't really get a chance to use one on an actual bag. So in this video, we're gonna attach the closure by starting with the plate and just marking the parts where the prongs are gonna go into the lining bag. So I'm punching holes into the lining and not the outer bag using my seam ripper. And then I'm gonna use the little metal plate to go on the inside where the fusible fleece is and push it right over the prongs. And then open the prongs and spread them out over the plate. I did attach some D-rings to the side of the bag, and I just pushed them right down in between the lining and the outer bag. And then these handles are some really pretty wooden handles that I had, and so I just made some little strap attachments for the handles, and then just also inserted those in between both layers of the bag. You can make handles, or if you have some handles, you can just attach them as well. But the focus of the video was to definitely show you a creative idea with t-shirts, but also to just let you know how to attach a lining to a bag. Even though we've done that in many videos, I really just wanted to show you how I construct the entire bag and make the lining for it. And then also the focus was a very simple pocket. There's so many different ways to make pockets for tote bags, but the little slip pocket is the easiest way to add an inside pocket to any bag. And so that's what I wanted to show you guys. If you are a beginner sewer, you can definitely add this type of pocket to any tote bag or any bag in general. And then I just sewed around the whole rim of the bag using about 1/4 inch seam. and just going over the strap attachment several times, because that's where you're going to pick up the bag and hold it and have things in it. And there's going to be a lot of stress on that part of the bag. So I just wanted to make sure that it's attached very securely. You definitely have to take the arm of the sewing machine off to put the bag on the sewing machine to go around this part of the bag. But yep, that's it. So our bag is complete. It's so stylish and cute. I love the Karate Kid and the wax on, wax off. I had to get that t-shirt when I saw it in the store. So to the lady who purchased this tote bag, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in the next video.